Thanks everyone again for coming along. I get to talk about Kentico EMS, which is the Enterprise Marketing Solution product. So I just want to start out with giving you a little bit of background about that product. So Kentico EMS is a customer experience management system that empowers businesses and organisations to deliver unique experiences to its website visitors that are targeted, data-driven, personalised, automated, tracked, and optimised. So it extends on the core feature set of the CMS, so the content management system, adding in functionality like contact management, analytics and optimisation, content personalisation, and marketing automation. All right, hold up. Lots and lots of words there. We've got CMS, we've got EMS, we've got CXM. It's all a little bit too much. Okay, as digital marketing people, there's a whole heap of acronyms and TLAs that you as digital marketers need to understand, implement. There's all these tools and systems. And we're just talking about another one today. So I thought I'd try and take it back from that and not focus too much on the EMS, and instead focus on what's really important, and that's about managing the customer experience. So most of my talk is going to be about customer experience management. You're not going to see any screenshots, you're not going to see a demo of the EMS. If you are keen to do that, then I'm more than happy to do that one-on-one. But instead, let's talk about customer experience management. So the one TLA, so CXM. A bit of background. In March this year, the web turned 25. So we can safely say that the web has grown up. It's very much started out as a one-way tool. So as Marty mentioned before, we were putting out brochure-style websites. It's very much one way. It's from the business to the customer. Over time, the web started to get better and better, more functionality, more capabilities. We started to make it a little bit more transactional. So we started to bring in e-commerce, started to have that two-way interaction. But over the last few years, it's now taken it up a notch, and we're now talking about more of a cyclical engagement model. So we can go back and forward, understanding users a lot more. So we now need to think beyond websites and start to embrace the whole digital customer experience. So what is CXM? So it's a strategy and a practice, not a system or a tool, for managing customers' experiences online and offline to acquire, retain, and turn customers into satisfied, loyal brand advocates and ambassadors. So I suppose as digital marketers, what influences can you bring to actually influence the customer experience in the digital world? So there's all these different tools that you can use, from mobile to analytics, to content management systems, websites, digital marketing, advertising. So how do you bring all that together? How do you actually implement it? How can you bring one tool to the table to actually do all of that? And I suppose that's what the EMS solution, that's what Kentico's Enterprise Marketing Solution is trying to do. So let's dive a little bit deeper and have a look at some of the functionality that the EMS brings. So there's four key areas. I mentioned these before. So marketing automation, contact management, personalisation, and analytics. So the first one, where it all starts, is contact management. So it's understanding the user. It's all about tracking what they're doing. We've got things like contact groups and segmentation. Andy mentioned before this idea of creating personas. So we can start to put users into particular groups and then change content. And that's where we move into this idea of content personalisation. So changing the user experience, changing the content, changing the messages that users receive when they hit your site or hit certain pages. And we can do that based on all sorts of things. We can do that based on geolocation, we can do it based on their demographics. Kentico also comes with a third-party recommendation engine that uses a whole heap of data, let's call it big data, to understand users and deliver customised messages. We can also extend that into email marketing as well, so personalising your email messages, so beyond your website. So the next sort of key feature area is marketing automation, and this is where we can use triggers to trigger certain marketing activities. So that could range from delivering different messages on the website, to triggering email activities, to pushing data into CRMs like Salesforce and Dynamics CRM. And Kentico EMS gives you a visual tool to be able to design these workflows. So instead of having to get a developer to do all this great functionality that we're talking about, you can actually go into Kentico EMS and build these workflows. So starting with a visitor accesses the homepage, they access a product page, you then wait 3 minutes, make sure they've spent time on that page, you then deliver a message, you then ask them if they want to chat live with you, you then send them an email once they fill out a form on the contact page. 5 days later, after you check whether or not they've seen that email, you send a follow-up email, and from there that loops around and you track that activity. That's just one example of what you can do in the actual Kentico EMS without sort of a developer. So the final sort of key category of functionality is the analytics and optimization. This is where we can sort of close the loop, so we can start tracking the performance of all these marketing automation, content personalization. We can integrate with Google Analytics. We can set up A/B tests. We can do multivariate testing. We can understand what actually works. You know, is it a red button? Is it a blue button? We can go beyond that. We can deliver completely different homepages to users. Learn what users actually want to do, and learn how you can convert, how you can engage people better. So in terms of how these things work together, we've got content personalization, which helps drive segmentation for your contact management. You can build up more and more data, which allows you to do more and more with that information. You can set up more and more activities, which then drive content personalization. When it comes to marketing automation, you can set up triggers. You can use the email data that you collect through your marketing automation to push back into contact management, again, to improve the process. And then between analytics, you can obviously drive back more efficient, more effective personalization from that information. And then also your sort of marketing activities, so tracking how well your emails are being viewed, are people clicking on the links, which version of the email was more effective. All of these things work together to deliver an understanding of the user, a personalised user experience. It allows you to improve the UX and allows you to deliver tailored communication. And all of that comes together with a better customer experience. That is the crux of the EMS. That's what it's all about. It's all about delivering a better customer experience. So how do you actually pull all that together? Like one of the challenges of the EMS is sort of understanding how to actually use all this great functionality and how to apply it to your business or organisation. Everyone's requirements are different. Not everyone has an e-commerce website that you can do A/B testing and deliver recommended products. What if you're a student association, or if you're an insurance company, or a retail business that doesn't have e-commerce? How do you then use the EMS tool to get the most out of your customer's digital experience? So what Get Started has done is put together a program, a very simple program to go through understanding your customers and how best to use the EMS product. And this starts with understanding, obviously, your customer. The first thing we do is build out user personas. And sometimes this is something your marketing team may have already done. So we can take what your marketing team has done and user personas, and then build out a customer lifecycle. So we want to understand both the digital touch points and the physical touch points that every customer has along the journey. So from awareness to purchase and all the way through to loyalty, and circling that back and keeping that customer engaged. So everything from sending out emails to doing Google AdWords, obviously tracking your website, your mobile, any kind of chat or instant messaging that you might have on your website. All of these are important touch points that we can analyse and then build into what's next, which is really understanding the data set. So what elements do you want to track? Do you need to know their gender? Is that going to be useful? Do you need to know their age? Do you want to know where they live? Understanding what you need to track will then help you build out and move into the next step, which is obviously tracking users. So then we want to sort of build out these trackable activities. So we want to understand what activities are important. Accessing the homepage, or is it accessing the contact page, getting to checkout, how long they stay on the checkout, when they exit a checkout, why they're exiting. These are all the activities that we can start to build out. And then what we do is we map all those activities to that life cycle that we saw before, so that we're making sure we're focusing on the right touch points. From there we can start to engage. This is where we use some of that functionality we talked about before, where we can start to personalize the content, we can trigger marketing automation activities, and obviously work on optimizing the website through A/B testing and multivariate testing. The final step is measuring. You can't manage what you can't measure, so we need to close the loop and track what we're doing, improve, and then circle back and do it all again. So I wanted to sort of give you a real life example. I've sort of kept it pretty high level, more about process and benefits and a little bit about features. Let's actually have a look at what this looks like in real life. So one of our clients is News Corp, and News Corp own a set of properties. One of the biggest ones is KidSpot. We've been working with KidSpot since 2004 as a startup, until they were sold to News Corp a couple of years ago for too much money. And one of their properties is birth.com.au. And birth is all about women and the birth process, so from conception all the way through to birth. And so I want to sort of talk about one particular user persona, and this user persona we're calling Jane. So say hello to Jane. Jane, at the moment, we don't know that much about Jane. So all we know is she's accessing the website from somewhere in Australia. She's female. We can take a pretty good guess at that based on the information she's reading. Probably some assumptions there. And based on what she's looking at, we're guessing she's pregnant, or at least she's trying to conceive. So let's walk through her journey with birth and what that looks like. So we're going to walk through from, I'm just going to give you an example of the first engagement point, otherwise we'd be here all night, but this is an example of what we can build out. So we've built out every single step along this process, from conception all the way through to birth. Everything from at what point do you start to research and understand how much prams cost. Trust me, I know, I've got 3 kids. And other sort of key milestones in that sort of very important process in life. So this particular one, let's just have a look at some of these bubbles here. So Jane comes to the site, she does a Google search, she's after some information about fertility and conception. She reads the planning for pregnancy article. We give her a bit of a score, all right? So we're using some functionality in EMS called lead scoring. In this case, it's really more engagement scoring. Okay, so most people think lead scoring, I think B2B, leads, Salesforce, all those kind of things. Lead scoring can be also used for engagement scoring. You don't need to be selling B2B, you don't need to have e-commerce. It's just as much about engagement. So we start to give her some points for that. She then uses the ovulation calculator. Far more engaged activity on the website. She needs to spend a good 5 minutes on that. So we give her more points. We get to see that Jane is actually really engaging with our content. She then reads some stuff about exercise. She starts using the baby name finder on the birth site. Again, another tool that she's more and more engaged. And then she clicks on some fertility recipes. Throughout this process, we're getting a pretty good idea of what she's interested in, and that allows us, as a publisher who makes money through advertising, to deliver more targeted advertising. And for them, that allows them to increase their CPMs, so their cost per 1,000 impressions. So it's a very targeted message. So Elevit, which is a very popular pregnancy supplement, is happy to pay good money because they know that their ads are going to be delivered to people who are actually interested in it. So what we did was we went through all that process from conception all the way through to birth. So everything from nappies to prams and everything in between, and able to build out this really deep understanding of who Jane is. So now what we know about Jane is she lives in Seddon. She's 29. She loves fashion, interior design. She owns a bugaboo. She's got serious money. That's like a Mercedes-Benz and prams. She's got 1 child, but to afford the bugaboo, she's having to go back to work. So she's a lawyer. and so she's keen to get back into work, and so she's keen to sort of understand how that works, childcare. She jumps on the forums, all that kind of thing. We've got a really deep understanding of Jane now. We can start to deliver some really targeted messages. That's through personalised content, through marketing automation. And that's now possible for all your users, including the few dads that go to these websites. So, how are you guys managing your customers' experiences? This is something that Kentico EMS and Get Started would love to help you with. So please organise a time with your Get Started contacts or account manager to have a chat about EMS, because we can actually take a little bit deeper. We can show you how this functionality works. We can give you the demos. We can give you the screenshots. We can give you the brochures. We can give you a better understanding. The next step is that sort of series of workshops where we follow that understand, track, engage, measure model to build out a program that works for you. I'd also encourage all of you, if you are using Kentico, to consider coming to Sydney for Kentico Connection. It's the only conference in the Asia Pacific region focused purely on Kentico. Quite a few of the Get Started team will be up there. I'll be sharing some information about one of our favourite clients, Snooze. And also, please chat with us now. And once again, thank you for coming along. Really great to see all of you here. I'm looking forward to getting around the room and chatting with each of you. Yeah, thanks very much.